এখনো দিচ্ছেন।
হায়দার, আপনি তাড়াতাড়ি নিচে নামেন তো।
আরে তো দেখেন
বিশেষ পার্সেন্টেজ আমি কি
আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, Mr. Hajiq.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Hajiq.
Yes, everything is working
welcome
fine.
you. Thank you.
Very
I'm
nice to
Mohammad
meet you.
Jasimuddin Akon, President ICM.
Nice to meet you, sir.
শোনা যায়? ভিডিওটাকে ডাউন করতে না?
হ্যাঁ, ডাউন দিছি।
হাজিক
না
ঢোকেন ভাই, 6:30 এত টাইম কি?
তারের কথা বাইরে শোনা যাচ্ছে।
6:31।
স্যার, আপনি মিউট করে কথা বলেন।
Yes, now I get it. Thank you. এখন ভিডিও অ্যালাউ হয়েছে। Thank you. Folks.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম স্যার।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম। ভালো ফারুক সাহেব ভালো আছেন? হ্যাঁ জি।
ওয়ালাইকুম স্যার।
ওয়ালাইকুম।
স্যার অনেক ধন্যবাদ। আমি মোহাম্মদ জসিমউদ্দিন এখন স্যার প্রেসিডেন্ট আইসিবি
হ্যাঁ, না, thank you. আপনাকে ধন্যবাদ।
স্যার আপনাকে অবশ্যই ধন্যবাদ স্যার।
মামুন আমার খুব প্রিয় অফিসার, মানে আমরা তো একসঙ্গে কাজ করেছি অনেকদিন।
স্যার আমার ঘনিষ্ঠ বন্ধু আর কি স্যার।
বলেছে আমাকে।
হ্যাঁ স্যার আমি স্যার আপনি অত্যন্ত ব্যস্ত মানুষ স্যার এটার মধ্যে স্যার।
না, ভালো লাগতো যদি আসতে পারতাম। আমাকে মানে দেলার সাহেব বলেছিলেন যে ফিজিক্যালি আসতে
না
পারলে।
স্যার আমরা দেখি আগামী সপ্তাহে বা আগামী দুই সপ্তাহের মধ্যে আমরা স্যার এই প্রোগ্রামটা আমরা মেইনলি হচ্ছে কি স্যার আমাদের মেম্বারদের সাথে স্যার আপনি এটা জানেন স্যার যে বর্তমান সরকার স্যার এটা ডিজিটালাইজেশন উপরে যেটা আপনি স্যার গুরু দায়িত্ব পালন করতেছেন স্যার। এই ডিজিটাল অ্যাকাউন্টিং অডিটিংটা আমার ডিজিটালাইজেশন যদি না হয় আমার পুরা মানে ইয়াটাই কিন্তু অর্থহীন হয়ে যাবে। তারপর
আমরা পেছনে পড়ে যাচ্ছি তো আসলে।
আমরা পেছনে পড়ে যাচ্ছি। হ্যাঁ, আসসালামু আলাইকুম আব্দুল্লাহ ভাই, ভালো আছেন? হ্যাঁ, ওই যে আমাদের স্যার আজকে কমেন্টেটর স্যার আপনার মন্ত্রণালয়ে জয়েন্ট সেক্রেটারি আব্দুল্লাহ ভাই আছেন আর কি।
তাই নাকি? হ্যাঁ, গুড।
কমেন্টেটর আজকে পেপার কমেন্টেটর হিসাবে আছেন আর কি।
খুব ভালো। আব্দুল্লাহ কি আপনাদের লাইনের নাকি? না আমি বুঝতেছি না।
না আমার লাইনে না স্যার, অসুবিধা নাই স্যার। আপনার মতো ভালো মানুষ যখন পাইছি স্যার, অসুবিধা নাই স্যার।
না ভালো, আব্দুল্লাহ
বিশেষ
খুব
করে
ভালো।
আপনি যখন উপস্থিত থাকবেন তখন উনি মানে যখন বলছি আব্দুল্লাহ ভাইকে মানে সাথে আর মানে না করেনি আর কি, মানে এটা তো সৌভাগ্য, মানে উনি বলছে
খুব ভালো
যে এইটার উপরে আমি মানে উনি বলছেন আর কি, এটার উপরে আমি বেসিক্যালি কাজ করতেছি আর কি। আমার সুযোগ হয়েছে আর কি এই ব্লকচেন আর্টিফিশিয়াল ইন্টেলিজেন্সের উপরে। তো আব্দুল্লাহ হ্যাঁ স্টার্ট করো।
সাউন্ড হয় না।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম, শুভ সন্ধ্যা।
ইংলিশে
عليم صدق الله العظيم سورة نزلات آية 15 আল্লাহ তাআলা ইরশাদ করেন হে মুমিনগণ তারাই যারা আল্লাহ তাআলা ও তার রাসূলকে অন্তর দিয়ে স্বীকার করেছে এবং তারপর কোনো সন্দেহ পোষণ করেনি এবং তাদের জান মাল দ্বারা আল্লাহ তাআলার পথে জিহাদ করেছে তারাই তো ঈমানের দাবিতে সত্যবাদী। হে রাসূল ওই দুহাতীদেরকে বলুন যে তোমরা কি আল্লাহ তাআলাকে নিজেদের দ্বীন সম্পর্কে অবহিত করছো অথচ মহান আল্লাহ তাআলা সবকিছু জানেন যাহা কিছু আছে আকাশ মণ্ডলীতে এবং যাহা কিছু আছে পৃথিবীতে সবই আল্লাহ তাআলা জানেন এবং আল্লাহ তাআলা ওমা আলাইনা ইল্লা আসসালামু আলাইকুম ওয়া রাহমাতুল্লাহি ওয়া বারাকাতুহু।
I would now request Mr. C.J. Omar Farooq Chaudhary, former Chairman, Dhaka Council, to conduct the rest part of this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daunt. Ladies and gentlemen, and honorable members of the Institute, students of the Institute, honorable chief guest, honorable commentator, from the very distance from Singapore and Malaysia, our resource person, Mr. Dr. Hazik, my friend, our respective chief guest, Mr. N.M. Jiaula Alam, PA, Senior Secretary, Information and Communication Technology Division, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, and Mr. A.K.M. Abdullah Khan, Joint Secretary, E-Service Policy and Act Branch, ICT Division, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, is present here as commentator of the today's webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that technology has taken huge part of our life. In this very pandemic year 2020, we have practically seen the effect of technology, the advantage of technology, what technology can give to us. All the academic institutes, schools, colleges, universities has been closed for the pandemic, but technology has given us the advantage so that our students, our childs, our next generation boys and girls, they are not far away from education, though all the academic institutes have been closed for almost 9 months, and we don't know how long it will be carried forward. So we are hopeful the coming days, coming years, coming generations will be led by technology, and technology has huge impact in the accounting and auditing, financial sectors, etc. So in this regard, we know that ICA may be always organize many CPDs, symposiums, trainings for its members, students, and other external participants regarding the accounting, finance, economics, business development, and many other issues. Technology is also to equip its members and students and all the stakeholders to be equipped with the current recent technological development and financial development throughout the world. And in this context, today we have arranged how artificial intelligence and blockchain will transform accounting and auditing. In this respect, our partner, iFintel, has supported us from Malaysia and Singapore. They have our resource person, Dr. Hazik Mohammed. He's from Singapore and Malaysia. Jointly, he's working both countries. He's from Singapore. Now he's in Singapore, but he's presenting the paper from Singapore to enrich the knowledge of our students and members and all others. We are very thankful to Hazik. So I am not wasting time, valuable times of our honorable chief guest and other delegates. Now, welcoming speech. I would like to request Mr. Ali Haida Chaudhuri, FCMA Treasurer of ICMB, to deliver his welcoming speech of today's program. Mr. Ali Haida Chaudhuri, FCMA.
Thank you, Mr. GM Omar Farooq Chaudhry. I'm here to deliver my welcome speech. It was scheduled to deliver the speech by our secretary, but he has been occupied with some busy schedule. So I welcome you all in a very timely session. So start with Honorable Chief Guest. Mr. M. Jiaul, Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. N.M. Jiaul Anam, PA, Senior Secretary, Information and Communication Technology, ICT Division, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Present here our special guest, AKM Delar Hossain FCMA, Vice President, South Asian Federation of Accountants, SAFA, and 2 times past President of ICMAB. Honorable President of the Institute, Mr. MD Josimuddin Akhon FCMA, the resource person, Dr. Haji Muhammad, Managing Director, Stellar Consulting Group, Singapore, FinTech expert and trainer. And Honorable Commentator, AKM Abdullah Khan, Joint Secretary, E-Service Policy and Branch, Information and Communication Technology, ICT Division, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. And Honorable Vice President of the Institute, Abu Bakr Siddiq, FCMA. Very good evening. Welcome you all in such a timely session. As our moderator said, J. Omar Farooq Chaudhry, we are here connected from different locations and even one person from Singapore. So that's the beauty of the technology. We are connected here, and you know the world is transforming very rapidly, and recent pandemic situation created the more demand for this transformation of this technology, and all the digital transaction and emphasis given on digital transaction, digital technology, working remotely, and also emphasis is giving. So today's session is how artificial intelligence and blockchain will transform accounting and auditing. And you know, there are so many recommendations from AICPA. IFAC is working on it, and South Asian Federation of Accountants are also working, and going forward how audit and assurance will be maintained for the going concern. So I will not talk much, as we have a learned speaker, a resource person, Dr. Haji Muhammad. We are eagerly waiting to listen from him, and also we are looking forward to listen from our very learned chief guest, and Jiaul Anam, Senior Secretary from Information and Communication Technology. And also we are very hopeful and looking forward to value-added inputs from AKM Abdullah Khan, Joint Secretary. So let's not waste time by enhancing my speech. I just welcoming you, and thanks from on behalf of the Institute from our core of my heart for attending and contributing this session for our member. So I now hand over to Mr. GM Omar Farooq Chaudhry to continue rest of the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ali Haider Chaudhuri, FCMA,
FCMA,
Treasurer,
Treasurer,
ICMB.
ICMB.
Now
Now
I
I
would
would
like to
like to
request
request
Mr.
Mr.
Muhammad
Muhammad
Joshimuddin
Joshimuddin
Akand,
Akand,
FCMA,
FCMA,
President,
President,
ICMB,
ICMB,
to
to
deliver
deliver
his
his
speech.
speech.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Respected Chief Guest, Mr. N.M. Jial Alam, PA, Senior Secretary, Information and Communication Technology Division, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Respected Special Guest, Mr. A.K.M. Dalarsen, FCMA, Vice President, South Asian Federation of Accountants, SAFA. Respected resource person, Mr. A.K.M. Respected resource person, Mr. Hajiq Muhammad, Managing Director, Sheltech Consulting Group, Singapore, and FinTech expert, and Honorable Commentator, Mr. A.K.M. Abdullah Khan, Joint Secretary, E-Service Policy and Act Branch, ICT Division, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Respected Treasurer, Mr. Ali Haider Chaudhuri, FCMA, and today's moderator, Mr. G.M. Omar Farooq Chaudhuri, FCM Chairman, Dhaka Branch Council, my fellow colleague in the council, respected past presidents and members of the institute, and dear students, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. At first, I would like to remember with sincere gratitude in this glorious month of victory and the 100 years of greatest leader of all time of Bengalis, the father of nation, the dreamer of Bangladesh, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. I would also like and remember with deepest respect of all the freedom fighters and all mothers and sisters who had lost their everything to achieve our long desert independence. It is indeed a great privilege for me to express my deep gratitude on behalf of ICMB to the chief guest, Mr. N.M. Jial Alam, PA, Senior Secretary, Information and Communication Technology Division, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Mr. N.M. Jial Alam is an iconic figure of the country, a good leader, a good organizer, and very committed to his work, who has been awarded with National Award named Innovation Award for his outstanding contribution in digitalization activities. Sir, we all know that you are a very busy personality. Within your busy schedule, you have accepted our invitation without hesitation, which reflect your love and affection for the CMA profession. Sir, we remain indebted to you throughout our whole life. Our today's webinar program and is lost by your kind presence. I also express my sincere thanks to the learned resource person, Dr. Hajiq Muhammad, Managing Director, Stellar Consulting Group, Singapore, for taking the pain to make a presentation on this very important topic. I believe the participant will be immensely benefited through his presentation. The theme of today's webinar is very important for the accounting professionals and timely also. I also express my sincere thanks to the commentator, Mr. A.K.M. Abdullah Khan, Joint Secretary, for taking the pain to make a program success, today's program success. Dear guests and participants, I would like to inform you that the Institute of Cost and Management Accountants of Bangladesh is the national body of professional cost and management accountants of the country. The institute is an autonomous organization established under the then Cost and Management Accountants Ordinance 1977, which has most recently been replaced by the Cost and Management Accountants Act 2018, CMA Act 2018, passed by the Parliament. The institute was set up with the prime objective of promoting and regulating the cost and management accounting profession in the country. It offers education and training in the field of cost and management accounting and offers highly recognized CMA degree on fulfillment of requisite qualifications. The institute is an active member of the World Apex bodies, International Federation of Accountants, IFAC, Confederation of Asian and Pacific Accountants, CAFA, and South Asian Federation of Accountants, SAPA. It is committed to develop the cost and management accounting profession in the country through education, training, and research. ICM is playing an important role to establish transparency, accountability, and good governance. Members of the institute are recognized as professional accountants by different laws introduced by Bangladesh Financial Reporting Council, FRC, in 2015. Dear members, since last couple of years, the ongoing development in the area of artificial intelligence and blockchain technology has been creating a chaos about the future role of accountant and audit professional. Comparing to other industries, it is relatively a new concept in accounting arena, but gaining a momentum at very fast pace. With a view to provide an overview, the implications this technology will have on accountants, auditors, and auditors' audit process, and also to shed a light on the skills that the professionals will be required to equip with to survive in the industry. We have arranged this webinar. Dear participants, the deep integration of emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and blockchain in the accounting field has introduced tremendous changes to the accounting profession, such as re-engineering accounting procedures, reducing accounting information errors, and improving accounting efficiency and promoting the transformation of accounting career structure. On the other hand, with the help of blockchain audit application platforms, large-scale and real-time automated audits can dive. At the same time, considering the increasing adoption of technologies in accounting, how to protect data privacy becomes an important issue. While corporations can exchange their data security structures, regulators are also expected to strengthen and implement regulations for associate crime. While the top accounting firms are embracing these new technologies and challenges, accounting professionals, practitioners, educators, and students are expected to expand their technological knowledge, creating more efficient accounting practices. Respected chief guests, sir, we the CMA professional would like to get the opportunity to serve the country. We would like to contribute to make Bangladesh Bangabandhu Sonar Bangla under the able leadership of the daughter of the nation, Jonathan Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. We'd like to contribute for the development of our beloved country and its people through our knowledge in economic area, through our expert service, through our honesty and integrity. Sir, we humbly request you to create opportunity for the CMA professionals in any area you may think right, which leads the country towards its economic development. We assure you that with our knowledge and expertise, we shall be able to bring discipline in all areas which will transform the country as Sonar Bangla. I hope all participants will find the deliberations interesting, useful, and thought-provoking. Dear guest, for a convenient communication, I would deliver my next part speech is Bangla. মাননীয় প্রধান অতিথি, জাতির জন বঙ্গবন্ধুর সুযোগ্য কন্যা মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রী ডিজিটাল বাংলাদেশের উপকার জননেত্রী শেখ হাসিনা আমাদেরকে উপহার দিয়েছেন সর্বক্ষেত্রে ডিজিটালাইজেশনের সুযোগ সুবিধা, যা আপনার নেতৃত্বে আজকে অনেক দূর এগিয়ে গিয়েছে এবং 2021 সালের মধ্যে আমরা পুরাপুরি সেই ডিজিটালাইজেশন বাংলাদেশের ভূমিকায় নিয়ে যেতে পারবো বলে আমরা দৃঢ়ভাবে বিশ্বাস করি। এবং সিএমএ প্রফেশনরা এটা চায় যে ডিজিটালাইজেশনের কোনো বিকল্প নেই। আপনার সদয় অবগতির জন্য জানাচ্ছি যে স্যার, যে এই ইনস্টিটিউট সকল শিক্ষা, এই দেশের সকল শিক্ষা মানে হোল পৃথিবীতে ওয়ার্ল্ডে সকল শিক্ষা প্রতিষ্ঠান যখন বন্ধ, বাংলাদেশও তার বাইরে নয়। এই করোনা মহামারীর কারণে আমাদের সকল শিক্ষা প্রতিষ্ঠান, পাবলিক প্রাইভেট বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় শিক্ষা প্রতিষ্ঠান যখন বন্ধ, তখন আমরা এই ইনস্টিটিউটে কোনো সেশন জটের সৃষ্টি করিনি। আমরা সেই সেশন জটকে পরিহার কল্পে আমরা কিন্তু রুটিন মাফিক আমাদের আগস্ট এবং নভেম্বরে দুটা স্বাস্থ্যবিধি, সরকারের নির্দেশিত স্বাস্থ্যবিধি মেনে আমরা সেই দুটা পরীক্ষা নিতে পেরেছি। এবং আমরাই প্রথম যারা অনলাইনে ভার্চুয়ালে সকল ছাত্রছাত্রীদের মধ্যে ক্লাস নিতে পেরেছি এবং ব্যাপক সাড়া পড়েছে, যে বাংলাদেশের একমাত্র প্রতিষ্ঠান যেটা ICMAB আমাদের সেশন জানুয়ারি, জুন এবং জুলাই, ডিসেম্বর আমরা সর্বক্ষেত্রে আমরা অনলাইন ক্লাস নিতে পেরেছি। আপনাকে অত্যন্ত আনন্দের সঙ্গে আমি জানাতে চাই স্যার, আমরা সম্প্রতি আমরা এদেশে শিক্ষা প্রতিষ্ঠানের মধ্যে সর্বপ্রথম আমরা লার্নিং ম্যানেজমেন্ট সিস্টেম ইমপ্লিমেন্ট করতে যাচ্ছি এবং এটা অলরেডি প্রস্তুত হয়ে গেছে। এবং আমরা এই লার্নিং ম্যানেজমেন্ট সিস্টেম আপনি ভালো করে জানেন স্যার, এটা পৃথিবীর শ্রেষ্ঠ একটা প্রতিষ্ঠান অ্যামাজন কোম্পানির সাথে আমরা চুক্তি করেছি এবং খুব স্বল্প খরচে স্যার। তো এটাকে আমরা মানে কোভিড মহামারী যেমন আমাদের অনেক কষ্ট দিয়েছে, অনেক সমস্যা ক্রিয়েট করছে, কিন্তু আপনার নেতৃত্বে এই ডিজিটালাইজেশন আমাদেরকে এই করোনা মহামারীর মধ্যে অনেকগুলি অপরচুনিটি সৃষ্টি করেছে। LMS তারই মধ্যে একটা। স্যার, আমরা প্রত্যন্ত গ্রাম অঞ্চলে এই শিক্ষা ব্যবস্থাকে চালু করে নিয়ে যেতে পারবো। স্যার, এই ক্ষেত্রে স্যার আপনি জানেন এটা বাণিজ্য মন্ত্রণালয়ের আওতাধীন, আমরা একটা থোক বরাদ্দ পাই স্যার। আপনার যদি সুদৃষ্টি থাকে স্যার, এই লার্নিং ম্যানেজমেন্ট সিস্টেমে আগামী 3 বছরে সর্বমোট আমার প্রায় 50 লক্ষ টাকার মতো খরচ হবে স্যার। আপনি যদি স্যার মানে এটা স্যার মানে অত্যন্ত বিনয়ের সঙ্গে স্যার বলছি, বিং এ প্রেসিডেন্ট স্যার, আপনি অত্যন্ত ভালো মানুষ স্যার। আমি জানি দালাল আমার অত্যন্ত শ্রদ্ধাভাজন আজকের অতিথি, বিশেষ অতিথি মহোদয় আপনার সম্বন্ধে অনেক বুঝেছি, প্রশংসা করছে, আমাকে ঠিক বকাও দিয়েছে যে আপনি আমাকে আগে বললেন না কেন, স্যারকে আমি ইনস্টিটিউটে নিয়ে আসতাম। আমি কি অসুবিধা নাই, স্যারকে আনা যাবে। এবং স্যার অত্যন্ত ভালো মানুষ, এক কথায় স্যারের রাজি হয়ে গেছে কোনো হেজিটেশন ছাড়া। আমি সত্যি অভিভূত স্যার। সমগ্র সিএমএ পরিবারের পক্ষ থেকে আপনাকে আন্তরিক অভিনন্দন জানাচ্ছি স্যার। আমাকে যদি স্যার এটা এই যে অর্থ অনুদানটা স্যার, এটা শুধু আমার ব্যক্তির জন্য না, সারা জাতির জন্য। আপনার জাতীয় সেবায় আপনি নিবেদিত। আপনি মানে বঙ্গবন্ধুর সেই স্বপ্নের সোনা বাংলার পথে এবং বঙ্গবন্ধুর কন্যা বর্তমান জননেত্রী আমাদের মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রীর সেই সেই মানে আশাকে আমরা বাস্তবায়নে রূপ দেওয়ার জন্য আমাদের প্রয়াস। আশা করি স্যার আপনার সর্বাত্মক সহযোগিতা পাবো। আমি অত্যন্ত ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি আমার সম্মানিত কমেন্টেটর আব্দুল্লাহ ভাইকে, যিনি আসলে 1 মিনিট অপেক্ষা করেননি আমি ফোন দেওয়ার পরে ওনার রাজি হওয়ার জন্য। এবং স্যার আমি মাননীয় প্রধান অতিথির কে জানাতে চাই যে উনি যখন আপনার কথা আব্দুল্লাহ ভাই শুনলেন, সাথে সাথে উনি রাজি হয়ে গেলেন। আমি অত্যন্ত আনন্দিত এবং তাকে আমার কৃতজ্ঞতা জানাচ্ছি। এবং সম্মানিত বিশেষ অতিথি আমি একটু বলি স্যার, আজকের 24 তারিখ উনি সাউথ এশিয়ান ফেডারেশন অ্যাকাউন্টেন্টের ভাইস প্রেসিডেন্ট। উনি আগামী পহেলা জানুয়ারি থেকে সাউথ এশিয়ান ফেডারেশন অ্যাকাউন্টেন্টের প্রেসিডেন্ট পদ অটো হয়ে যায় স্যার। প্রেসিডেন্টের পদ অলঙ্কৃত করবেন, এটা শুধু আমার ইনস্টিটিউটের জন্য গর্বের না, এটা বাংলাদেশের জাতির জন্য গর্বের যে স্যার গুপ্ত দেশের সময়ের মধ্যে অ্যাকাউন্টিং প্রফেশনের উনি নেতৃত্ব দিতে যাচ্ছেন। এটা সত্যিকার অর্থে অত্যন্ত গর্বের বিষয়। আমি আপনার মাধ্যমে স্যার তাকেও আজকে আন্তরিক অভিনন্দন জানাচ্ছি স্যার। পরিশেষে সকল সম্মানিত সদস্যদেরকে আমি ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি। Before I conclude, I would like to express my sincere thanks and gratitude once again to the honorable chief guest, honorable special guest, honorable paper presenter, honorable commentator, and our members and students who are participating in this webinar. Let the program achieve its desired success. Thank you all. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Honorable President. HMB, Mr. Joshimuddin Alkandip, CMA. Always President has some expectation to the chief guest. Sir, that's why President always have more demand to the government authorities. We hope that our honorable chief guest sir will take care of our institute as it is a child of your also. Today's your help will lead and take and generate more accountants from here with the equipped knowledge of the time demanding equipped knowledge. So now I'd like to request Dr. Haziq Mohammed, Managing Director, Stellar Consulting Group, Singapore, FinTech expert and trainer, iFintel Business Intelligence, Malaysia. He's my friend. He's now in Singapore, but I would like to request Dr. Haziq Mohammed to present his papers regarding how artificial intelligence and blockchain will transform accounting and auditing. Dr. Haziq Mohammed.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished panelists, honorable guests, respected participants. Thank you, ICMAB, for this collaboration with iFintel to bring you a very important topic, which is very necessary in the digital transformation of our world today. If you would please let me, I will share my screen now because I have some slides that will be useful in today's presentation. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Yes.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, now it is appearing.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Okay, so the topic for today's presentation is how artificial intelligence and blockchain will transform accounting and auditing. The overview of today's presentation will be as such. Likely, this presentation will take maybe about 40 to 45 minutes. And then after that, we'll take a few questions from the audience or the participants or even from the panelists for another maybe about 10 to 15 minutes. And then I will end my presentation. So the overview for today's presentation is I will try to give a quick background into what the two main technologies that we are talking about today, artificial intelligence as well as the blockchain. And then we will cover the features of AI, or artificial intelligence for short, and the blockchain, which makes them unique in their own way. Okay, and then we will combine the two technologies to give more sophisticated application of AI plus blockchain in the area of accounting and auditing. So I will also give my thoughts on the evolution of accounting and auditing from my perspective. And then we'll talk about some real applications where AI plus blockchain can help in accounting and auditing as the world transform and become more and more digitalized. So first of all, what is artificial intelligence? As an overview of AI categories, this picture tells you what AI does. From the top, we can see artificial intelligence can be used for predictive analytics. A more advanced version of AI is called machine learning. So machine learning will be used for AI modules to predict what's going to happen next, hence predictive analytics. And then a more advanced version of that machine learning module is called deep learning. So deep learning essentially is an application where they want to replicate the human being, the different neural networks that we have within our brain. So the technologists want to replicate that. So they start replicating the way the brain works from its neural synapses and the way every synapse produces a reaction to the organs in our body. So that's an advanced version of AI. So it starts with AI, goes to machine learning, and then deeper into deep learning. Then another section of AI is also in terms of speech, where if you have an iPhone, you have Siri, where instead of typing for a search or to give a command to your mobile phone, you can now just speak to it, and then Siri will process that, and then will give you the results or the outcome that you want. The third one is in image recognition. Now, if you go to Google, if you find like you're out in the forest or out in the street somewhere and you see a particular leaf or a particular flower, which is very beautiful, and you want to know its genus or you want to know its name, you can actually just take a picture, and then Google will have AI module in the background that recognizes the image, and it will give you the name and the genus and the whole history or a list of other websites on that particular flower or leaf that you are looking at. So that's the vision part of AI. And then we continue downwards to robotics. Obviously, AI can be developed into robotics. In advanced countries like the US and Europe, you see a lot of, like Boston Dynamics, they are trying to replicate a robot that can climb stairs without falling over, that can jump through, bars. And then, when they leap off a flight of stairs, they have the balance and not to fall. So it's AI is definitely developing into very sophisticated machines. And this is in line with what we project that robotics will be able to do. And then the simpler version of AI is it will be used in terms of planning and optimization of work. Every sector of the economy is being disrupted right now. And in order to do accurate and quick planning and optimization, we employ the help of machines along with our human workers, so that the machines will complement the weakness of our human workers, so that we'll get the best outcome. And then through AI modules, we'll also be able, or technologies will be able to develop expert systems through the collation of data. So just like an expert, a human expert becomes an expert in his area, he spends time working on, whether it's research or, R&D or, in tax, in the area of tax or accountancy or audit. You need some time to develop those kind of expertise to see the various kind of scenarios, to be able to solve the various kinds of problems. In these areas, you need time and expertise. What we can do is we can develop an AI module, and then we can download all the experiences from all these experts, and then you can have a super AI module that will be the expert system of that particular area. Okay, and then the last one is the NLP, which is the language processing, where you classify and then you translate and then you extract data from language, so that because everyone speaks a little bit different, everybody has a different, what do you call this, slang or some kind of accent, especially when you're coming from different parts of the world. So the AI today, people are developing where they are trying to understand, whatever village that you're from, whichever part of the country or the world that you're from, the AI module is able to understand, the language that you're speaking with that particular accent, and then translate it to whatever language that you want to. Okay. So the different types of AI are mainly categorized in these three categories. Number one is the ability to interact with the real world. So to perceive, to understand, to act, to speak, to recognize images, and then the ability to take actions. And second category is in reasoning and planning, where the AI module is more of like a thinking type of module used as a thinking or problem solving. So first, they need to be able to model the external world, given the input, which is the data that they collect from the external world, and then to be able to solve the problems, which is programmed by the algorithms created by the AI technologies or the AI programmers. And then from there, also to try to make decisions which are useful, and then to have the ability to deal with some kind unexpected problems or uncertainties. So this one goes into a very complex level of AI that we talked about, more advanced than machine learning. It goes into deep learning. Okay, and then the last category is learning and adaptation. This is largely machine learning, where in a particular field where if you can determine the constraints or the limitations or the boundaries of the problem, the AI programmer can actually program the algorithms for the algorithm to source for new areas of data sources, and then it can learn from there. So that's where the term comes from, machine learning. And then as it learns, the machine or the AI module will optimize itself to give a much better and better outcome. So almost like, like a child learning through experience. So this is essentially the basic concept of machine learning. Okay. So the five main AI problem space categories are: number one, the knowledge representation; number two, logical reasoning; number three, planning and navigation; number four, prediction, acting under uncertainty. Because when you're trying to make certain decisions, you can most of the time we are not able to afford to wait for every information to come in for us to make a decision. Sometimes if you wait too long, it's too slow because you need a decision to be made. So likewise, AI programmers are trying to create AI modules that can act like human beings, where, with just sufficient data, it can actually able to help you make some kind of decision under uncertainty. Okay, so number five, perception, communication and NLP. So like most robots, they cannot feel. Sometimes the nuances in the way we communicate is in our facial expression, is in our tone of voice, is in the way we stress certain words, whether it's high pitch or low pitch, those kind of things machines cannot read. So they are trying to develop the NLP module that is able to detect such things. But that also, is a very complex type of programming and algorithm that will slowly develop as we progress. Okay, so the main features of AI intelligence is that it works on the basis of agents, and these agents react only to underlying information. So either it's different type of data sources. So if it reacts, it's called a reflex agent. If it's based on historical data, it's called an agent with memory, depending on how you have configured your AI module. And then based on the different types and amount of information of these properties of agents, you can develop AI modules that are either autonomous, reactive, goal-oriented, communicative, learning, mobile, or personal, depending on the outcomes that you want the module to achieve. Okay. So what are the main benefits of using machines or artificial intelligence in this particular case? Okay, the three main benefits of AI, I mean, there are many, much more benefits, but largely they fall into these three main areas. And number one, it is automation, right? Automation, because you can process repeated tasks without making errors consistently and precisely. So unlike a human being which gets tired, they may not make any mistake within the first hour of work, but after 10 hours or 11 hours or 12 hours, they become tired. They lose focus, their attention is distracted, especially when they don't have sufficient breaks and things like that. But in an automated machine, right? In an automation, even if you don't give it a break, as long as you maintain it and oil it well, it can actually function much better for longer periods of time without making any mistakes. Number two, machine learning. So the ability for algorithms to learn by itself will improve and optimize processes with new data. Okay, so that's very useful in many areas, and we'll talk about it later as we go into the real world applications. And last one is detection. So detection means, like for instance, we have security guards to watch our premises to prevent unwanted breach into our location or our property or our building or our factory. Likewise, for cybersecurity, we need AI modules that is able to detect some kind of breach. Unlike physical breach, you can actually see someone trying to break in, or evidence of breaking in by cutting wires or breaking a window or something like that. In terms of online, you cannot actually see anything. So what we need to do is we need to have AI modules or agents that are roaming in the background as a software layer to protect our cyber systems, right? So AI modules can be developed to detect any breach or even errors or even fraud, especially in accounting and auditing, right? That is part of the nature of the job, right? To detect, whether it's an unintentional mistake or it's an intentional mistake, which is fraud. And then we need to do this quickly, and with an artificial intelligence system, you can not only do it quickly, you can do it real time. So you don't have to wait like quarterly, right? When we have an annual audit or a quarterly audit, so we have to wait 3 months for a quarterly, and annually we have to wait 1 year. But if we have an AI compliance system or an auditing or system, it actually gives you, and we can develop a dashboard, it can actually gives you any breach of fraud or error real time. So, if you want some report immediately, you just look at the dashboard and it gives you the update in real time. That means instantly. So secondly, we'll talk about the second technology of today's topic, which is the blockchain. The blockchain is, if you're not familiar with the technology, it's a little bit complex. I try to simplify it as much as I can. Generally, the applications for blockchain today can be categorized into these 4 main categories. The first one is cryptocurrencies and tokens, which is the most famous and popular because everybody knows about the Bitcoin, especially when the Bitcoin price recently has been recovering and increasing and reaching new highs. So it's getting a lot of attention again these days. So it is essentially representation of money or means of exchange, and then tokens is where you can also function as a unit of an account or a store of value. Okay, so essentially you use it to, exchange for some product or services. Or like money, you can buy things that accept cryptocurrencies. Just like, if they accept, any form of sovereign currency, like the US dollar or the euro or things like that. Second category or second application for blockchain is in the databases and registries. So basically, the blockchain is like a ledger system. When it's essentially a ledger system, it can be used for registries and it can use for databases, right? Usually it's up in the cloud, and then you can access it anywhere in the world. And then the third one is in the payments and remittance system. So right now, we want to remit money, especially when we work overseas, we remit money back home to our families, or to pay our clients overseas and things like that. It takes some time. It used to take several days or even up to a week when I was much younger. But now it takes, if you pay a little bit, it can be overnight type of remittance system. But if you use a tokenized system, that means you convert the value, you tokenize the system. That means the entire payment system is based on a token payment. So you can use the token to represent whatever value in US dollar or euro or whatever local currency that you have. And then you use the token to transfer the value to whichever country that you want, whether it's in, other parts of Asia or, Europe or across the world, to the US and South America. You can actually do it within a few minutes or within the hour. So it's a very efficient way of using technology to speed up work that needs to get done. Okay, and then lastly, but the most important, is using the blockchain as smart contracts. So because it's a ledger system, and the way the blockchain works, if I can move, to this. So the way the blockchain works is why it's such a fantastic discovery is because it is very difficult to hack and very what we call as immutable, tamper-proof. Why it's tamper-proof is the way the blockchain works is it's a peer-to-peer decentralized public ledger system. So whenever you try to add new information to it, like for instance, if you are selling oven and it's on the blockchain system, and then when you sell it to your buyer, so when the ownership transfers to the buyer, if it's on the blockchain, what happens is they will record on the blockchain that the new buyer, the new owner of the oven is the new buyer's detail. So your information, if you're the seller, will be the previous block, right? And then a new block will be created and will be attached to a chain of blocks, assuming that the oven has had multiple owners. So that's why it's called the blockchain. It's a chain of blocks. So every new information that gets added is created into a new block and gets added to the chain of blocks of the previous owners with the previous information, right? So in that sense, you get to trace back, like for instance, you want to know who initially bought the oven and who's the owner today. So if it's on the blockchain, you can actually trace it all the way to the first owner, which is very useful in accounting and auditing when trying to check, fact check for, for whatever, in any investigation or any, just because you want to know who are the owners. So that's how the blockchain works. But the tamper-proof portion comes when a new block gets added. There will be nodes, N-O-D-E-S, nodes in the cloud. There are multiple nodes, not just one node, multiple nodes in the cloud, which the hacker doesn't know where the nodes are. So these nodes will have to verify that this new block that gets added to the chain to the previous chain of blocks is authentic, then it gets added. So if a hacker tries to create a new block and puts his details as he is the owner to the chain of blocks, it cannot, because he doesn't know how many nodes there are, and he doesn't control them to authenticate the new block that he has created. So this is where the tamper-proof or the immutability comes in. Okay, so if you can see the yellow ticks is when the transaction has been verified and the new block that is created gets added to the chain of blocks. You can see the red block added to the gray blocks. So that essentially is how the blockchain works. Okay, so if I can, in that block, if I can have the information, any information I can put, that information I can put, if I use it, if I use the blockchain as a smart contract, I can put in the terms and condition of any contract into the block, right? And then because it's automated, every terms and condition that has been satisfied, it will trigger the action, right? So for instance, if we use the blockchain as a smart contract, and let's say I use it as a way to buy a book, right? So if it was on the smart contract, you would ask for like, once the payment is made, once the buyer has made the payment, the smart contract will trigger the seller to pack the book and to send it to him once they have received the payment. Okay, and then once the buyer has received the book on his end, the contract will be closed, and then the smart contract has ended, the program has ended, and the contract is completed. Okay, that's a simple explanation of how smart contracts work in an automated way. Okay, so just like AI, what are the main benefits or features or advantages of using blockchain? For blockchain, number one, it is immutable, right? Cannot be changed without authority, and it is tamper-proof. So very, very difficult to hack. The hacking that you hear today in crypto exchanges or when you Google for some reports is not the blockchain itself. That is in the storage, right? Because when you use tokens to exchange and to trade cryptocurrencies and crypto tokens, what happens is they have to be stored in the crypto exchange storage, or if you want to redeem it, you have to store it in your e-wallet, right? So your e-wallet is not on the blockchain, it's just a storage facility. So the best way to keep it safe is to actually pull it offline. So for instance, you can put your e-wallet into a flash drive and then just plug it out, so offline. So that's what we call as cold storage. So as long as it is not online, the hackers cannot get to it because it's offline, right? But if as soon as you plug it in and it is online, the hackers is able to access it. So the confusion comes when people say that blockchain can be hacked, comes in this area. The blockchain itself is not hacked, the chain of blocks is not hacked, it is in the storage where they store the tokens or the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency. So the storage facility is weak, not the blockchain. The blockchain itself is very, very difficult to hack and tamper-proof. Okay. Number two is in its traceability and trackability. So like I said, it is a chain of blocks. So you have because you have the chain of blocks, that means you have the historical records of previous transactions and previous data. So very, very easy to trace, very, very easy to track. Number three, it's scaling ability. But we have not seen the full scalability of the blockchain just yet, because for the simple fact that today's blockchain applications created in a private type of blockchain. That means it's not in the true public decentralized, fully decentralized blockchain. Okay, so they try to create in a private manner first, in a controlled manner first, within their organization, where the nodes are within their organization, and then once that has been sorted out, just like in any IT project, right? You do a beta testing first. Once that's sorted out, when they are happy, they launch it, they keep it running after several months or quarters where they're happy that they no more bugs, everything works fine, then what can happen is they can connect to other private blockchain systems. And then when you have multiple private blockchain systems connected, then it will become semi-autonomous blockchain ecosystem. And then when you get connected to the global system, then you will become a fully public decentralized system. So when that happens, you have full scalability. But that will take it will take some years, because you have to develop the element of trust before entities want to connect their systems to your system. They will come, maybe I project, in advanced countries, it will happen maybe much quicker, maybe about 5-6 years. But in less developed countries, it will take maybe decades. So it depends on the level of acceptability and technology and expertise and things like that. So it depends on many multiple factors. Okay, so what are some of the real applications of AI and blockchain for accounting and auditing? So that's the reason for today's webinar, right? So number one, tech can help accountants and auditors to significantly improve productivity and cost savings and effectiveness through these advantages. Number one, accounting fraud detection and prevention. So if you have an accounting system that is on the blockchain, right, or we call it blockchainized or blockchain system, right, it will improve traditional accountancy and fight accounting fraud by because of its immutable nature. Because it is tamper-proof, it's very difficult for people to change previous accounting data that has already been entered, right? Because of the tamper-proof and immutable nature. Okay, so if we use the AI for accounting fraud detection and prevention, the NLP together with machine learning can be trained on legal contracts and document. So what you can do is the AI module can be developed to recognize document languaging, and then whether, because legal contracts are written in legal prose, in a they use specific language like going concern, prima facie, those kind of legal. So if you can train the AI module to recognize those kind of legal terms, and then to process the documents much better, and then detect any inconsistencies or any fraudulent activity that may exist. Okay, so that's using the AI and blockchain together. So second application is in audit improvement. Okay, so if we use AI and blockchain together, auditing can be fast and easy due to the inherent traceability of everything that is recorded on the blockchain, right? Because there's a chain of blocks, again, because of the traceability and trackability of all the information from start to current, auditing becomes very, very easy. Whether you are in regulations, you're a regulator, or you're just, a corporate auditor, or, even a private auditor, you can look at the chain of blocks and trace all the information that you need. Okay, and then AI and analytics can also help auditors to visualize and understand entire populations of data and point to correlations, anomalies, and outliers, thereby improving risk identification or even fraud identification, right? So especially in audit improvement, right? So unlike the human beings, like I said, right, we are highly influenced by emotions. We are tired, because of our nature. If you have an AI module, AI audit module, it will definitely help you in not only detecting anomalies or things that correlate if you're doing some kind of investigation, But if you have a properly designed dashboard, you can actually visualize the data. Okay, very, very interesting. Number 3, real world application is improve regulatory compliance. So as in the finance industry, I'm sure in the accounting and auditing world, you have, accounting standards and auditing standards to meet because regulators want you to meet. So based on the performance insights of corporations or companies or even governments or even government agencies or ministries, you can optimize AI models for to improve compliance, okay? So that they can avoid fines. And because sometimes when there are so many standards to abide by and you have humans at the wheel, right, you tend to make some kind of mistakes. So if you can supplement it with some kind of sophisticated AI compliance module, it will prevent mistakes and also prevent fines from regulators. Number 4 is easier reconciliation. So accountants can start using AI to automate reconciliation tasks. The RPA or robotic process automation can standardize and speed up workflows. And then you can use these AI modules with the blockchain to verify its authenticity. Right? And then the 5th and the last real-world application that I'm going to cover in my short speech today is that it will reduce errors and obviously improve accuracy. And this is true for any AI model in even other sectors outside of accounting and auditing. Okay, when you have an automated process, run by robots or by machines, right? You can complete repetitive and time-consuming tasks in business processes such as document analysis and handling, which is plentiful in accounting. Okay, so one of the main concerns that usually in my talks, in my webinars, and in the classes that I teach to IFintel, the common question is: so if robots are going to replace human jobs, the humans will be jobless, and they fear. People fear technology, or they resist technology because they fear that the machines will take away their jobs. Actually, if you read recent WEF report, the World Economic Forum says that in every industrial revolution, and we're in the 4th industrial revolution, right? In every industrial revolution, from the steam engine to the sewing machines to the automation of factories and things like that, it actually doesn't take job. Actually, it creates more jobs than it replaces in every industrial age. So we need not fear technology. In fact, we should embrace technology. The jobs that will be replaced are the jobs like this, the repetitive, the menial jobs, the kind of jobs that doesn't require high level of human thinking, right? So we want to replace that with machines because it doesn't have much thinking anyway, right? So we need to equip our accountants and our auditors, or in a larger sense, our students, our younger generation, to be skilled so that they can operate at a much higher level, to bring higher value added to the economy, so that we can, like what Malaysia is doing, they're trying to reach to a high income economy, so that their workers can command higher wages, and with higher wages, they can do more things for their family, and they can achieve a better standard of living for themselves. So in order to do so, you have to do higher value kind of work. So we have to develop just like the chief guest, the president has mentioned, if we want to, he's here to serve the nation. So if you want Bangladesh as a nation to achieve higher value, we have to start with our youth and equip them with knowledge, so that they once they graduate with the information that we provide to them, that they will be able to do higher value jobs, and they will command higher salaries. And then the lower value jobs, we will leave it for the machines to take care of that, because they are much more able to take care of that with less errors and repeated, and they don't get tired. Okay. So we let the machines focus on their strength, and then we focus on our strengths, which is the higher level of thinking and creating bigger value for ourselves. Okay. So this is the last slide for the presentation. No, second last slide for the presentation. So what will happen in the evolution of accountancy and auditing, in my view, is that it will be real-time accounting and auditing, not a quarterly or not an annual type of accounting and auditing. So you'll have, rather than audits being performed at regular intervals, quarterly or annually, blockchain and AI machine learning will present the possibility of a true real-time audit. Okay, with continuous audit trends and missing data, trends and missing data can be identified much earlier, allowing for problems to be proactively addressed rather than reactively reported. So rather than wait for a quarterly report or annual report to tell us that a problem has happened, if it was real time, you can know that the problem immediately, and then you can fix it immediately, rather than wait and then allow the damage to perpetuate, and then it may cause more and more problems. Okay. And then continuous auditing would also give peace of mind to businesses and their investors, while also hopefully reducing many of the tasks that accounting firms often have written off or not charged for. Okay, so all of this technology adds up to more time for human connection with your internal teams, as well as your external clients. Those are the higher value, right? To improve trust within clients, to address their bigger concerns. Okay, with analytical abilities through your AI modules, and advisory services becoming important in delivering value to an organization. So the accountant and auditor in this evolution of the future that I foresee, you will be more of focused on advisory work, where this one the machine is not able to do yet unless you feed in the information. The human being, based on his experience, the accountant and the auditor, the experienced accountant and auditor is able to advise the clients much better based on their own experience. And now, with the help of their AI modules, they can churn out more data for them. Okay. So to imagine the future of accountancy, let me quote this. Imagine a world where accounting was not double entry, but maintained in ledgers, excuse me, simultaneously recording the same item in multiple locations on multiple computers. These are the nodes that we talked about in the cloud. Remember the nodes that are supposed to verify the new block that gets added into the blockchain? So these are the multiple ledgers that this code is talking about. All self-balancing and checking every few minutes, because you need to authenticate the new block before it gets added, right? So there's no middleman, there's no reconciliation, no corrupt data, no need for month-end cycles, no need to bring together all the different books and records of departments and counterparties. So this is the what the future of accountancy will be. And in order to do so, we need to fully understand the capabilities of AI as well as the blockchain. Okay. So IFintel is proud to be collaborating with ICMAB, and some of the IFintel offers many programs. But I will highlight before I end my presentation today 3 cornerstone programs which IFintel has produced, and it has become very popular. IFintel's has been getting requests not only from Malaysia and Singapore, and they're getting inquiries from far-flung areas of Asia, as well as other parts of the world. So the first program that I wish to highlight is the certificate program, which is certified by several well-known institutions. The first program is the certificate program in research data analysis. So in order for an AI module to work, we need to have a lot of data scientists. So this is an application type of certification that will get any participant or any student or any person that takes the certification program to get closer to that level, where they are able to look at data, categorize it in a proper manner, organize it in a proper manner, so that you can extract value from this data. So that's research data and analysis. So a lot of researchers are going for this certification program because they want to learn new techniques, new skills, so that they can look at data in new ways to extract more value or new value. Then we have the advanced practical data analysis, which is the advanced version of the research data analysis. Okay, and then the most recent popular certification program, this is a professional certification, is the Professional Certificate Program of Islamic FinTech. So FinTech has been very, very popular, and naturally, as Muslims, we want to focus on Islamic FinTech, on the application on social finance like wakaf, zakat, and infaq, sadaqah, and things like that, because those are ways to collect capital for social and economic development, and also in our finance industry, right? In terms of remittance, how we run our banks, how we transfer money, how we tokenize assets, how we digitalize payments, and things like that. So very important course. I have recently authored a book called Beyond FinTech. You can find it on Amazon under my name. I'm the sole author. And then you can look at that. Every chapter goes through different applications, and I will cover some of that within this Islamic FinTech module. If you are interested, like, sometimes reading books are not enough. You want an instructor, a physical person to come and instruct, whether it's through Zoom or face-to-face when the borders open up. This is the professional certificate program that's for you, and I think the book will be used as the basis for the material, and there will be other instructors, hands-on instructors, in terms of programming and creating modules, joining me for this particular program. Okay, so if you want any more information on the programs that iFintel offers, you can write to this particular email, info@ifintel.org, or just go to the website ifintel.org. Okay. So with that, I end my presentation, and I will take questions from the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Haziq Mohammed. It's a very nice and important topics nowadays, and I am thanking you for very elaborative, very descriptive, and for the very knowledgeable, very easily understandable paper. You have took the pain to make us understand, prepare the paper, and to make us understand the artificial intelligence and blockchain. Now the floor is open, dear members and students. We can ask if we have any questions in our mind, and Dr. Haziq is ready to answer your questions. If there is any questions from the floor, from the students, from the members and participants.
Yes, Farooq, I think.
হ্যাঁ ফারুক,
yes Farooq bhai.
Maybe he can type his question and somebody read his questions so that I can answer it.
Hello, this is the hello. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Now you can hear me. Okay. My name is Farooq. I am the fellow member of this institute.
Salam Farooq.
Very nice, and thank you very much for a wonderful program for the ICNLP. It was very timely relevance for our country as a digital economical country we are transforming. As per the Bangladesh government also have taken some steps and already taken steps of blockchain technology, already set up, already prepared and finalized a policy on blockchains. We know that it is a very, very good for the step for our country. So we want to embrace this blockchain technology in our application in the government sector as well as in the private sector. So my question, basically to Dr. Zak, Dr. Hazik Muhammad, is that what are the basically readiness for a private company or a government company to require to go to for a blockchain application in particular cases of like accounting application? That's what he said. So what are the readiness is required at this moment?
Okay, thank you for the question, Mr. Farooq. I think for a private entity, if you want to consider a blockchain application, whether it's in accountancy, audit, or even other areas, I think first of all, you need to have a team with the right expertise. So first of all, within that team, you should have blockchain expertise. And then on top of blockchain expertise, you need to have business leadership expertise. This business leadership expertise needs to have an understanding of the technical part of blockchain as well. So he may not be a programmer, but what happens is he understands the conceptualization. That means the application of blockchain to solve a certain problem which you are trying to create a solution for. So then after that, you need to have, of course, budget for it because to develop blockchain applications is not cheap because the true experts in blockchain, if you are able to find them, they don't come cheap as well. But as we train more and more blockchain and AI engineers, their costs will start to drop, as in other IT, costs. As you expand the talent pool, the costs for them will start to drop, and then blockchain projects will become cheaper. But to recap, my answer to your question is that you need to have a team that understands the problem that you are trying to solve, and then understand how blockchain as a technology is able to be used to give you the solution that you want, right? So the right use case and for the right reasons, and then of course the right expertise. Do we have another question? You're welcome, Farooq. Also, I would like to add, if you come to if you enroll in the professional certificate of the Islamic FinTech program, what will happen is that in that particular program, the different instructors, including me, will go through specific applications like capital markets, sukuk, digital sukuk issuance, application like asset and wealth management, regulatory compliance in RegTech or SupTech, we call it supervisory tech and regulatory tech, RegTech and SupTech. And then we'll go through specific applications, and then you'll get to understand the conceptualization of, we show you how technology can be conceptualized, to solve certain problems. So maybe that would be something that Mr. Farouk would also want to consider.
Thank you, Mr. Hajiq. I have a question. One of my friend asked, accounting data is required to be kept secret, but in blockchain, the accounting data is stored and distributed among the database. How blockchain or artificial intelligence will solve this problem? We like to keep the accounting data secret, but when you keep the data in the blockchain, how it will be more secret than we need.
Okay, very good question. Very good question. So what happens is, for the blockchain, you can have a private blockchain, or you can have the public blockchain. So if you want to keep privacy on certain information, what you will do is you will create a private blockchain. So only within your organization, or you will restrict access to everybody, but you will only give access to certain people which you want. So what can happen is, it's like, I give you an example, like for the internet, right? The internet is the World Wide Web. Anybody can access, right? But when you want to access your own bank data, when you want to check that your salary has come in, or you want to check on your balance or your credit card, what you have paid for, the utility bills, your rent and things like that, that is private, because it goes through a certain encryption called, which we use as password, right? You have to log in to your bank's website, and then they issue you a certain password to access on, and then only you can see that particular data. No one else sees that data. So a private blockchain is something like that. So although it's up in the cloud, you can encrypt the data and restrict the access to only certain people to be able to access to it. So that's how you deal with the privacy issue. Very good question. Thank you for the question.
Thank you very much for your reply.
Any other questions?
Mr. Hajiq, there are some questions in your question answer session. We have a couple of questions from our member. Can you see it?
I prefer that someone read it to me so that I can answer.
Okay.
If you could read it to me, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Just. Achha. Okay. So I can see one question from Jiauddin Ali Ahmed.
Okay.
His question is, my question is, what softwares and applications needed to be learned for developing blockchain?
Oh, okay. Another good question. So there are many languages that you can learn to do the blockchain. Obviously, you have the C language. You have Python. Is also another useful language. I think Python is the most popular language because it can do several things. So there are other languages that escape my mind now, but you can easily Google them and find out about it. So there are many languages.
For you, not for us, for you.
Okay, I just check if there is any other question. One question from Rakibul Islam Aizan. Okay, I think how blockchain will solve this problem. You answered already. Is regarding the secrecy of data.
Yep.
And okay, what should be the first step to proceed with AI and blockchain? This is question is from Professor Dr. Muhammad Jamaluddin.
Fastest way to proceed with AI and blockchain.
Yeah.
The fastest way is to hire the right people.
Okay.
If you don't have the expertise, the fastest way is to hire them and then incentivize them to come and work with you. The slowest way is to learn it yourself. So if you want to balance, if you're able to hire them and you have the budget to do so, I think that would be the fastest way. Yeah.
Okay. So can I take the opportunity to ask one question from my side, Mr. Hajiq Muhammad?
Sure, sure.
Yes, you know, I was just reading yesterday.
Thank you.
It's regarding COSO integrated internal control and integrated framework, because which is a board formed under AICPA, American International Certified Public Accountants. So,
okay.
So this integrated framework has been developed considering the large organization going through huge number of data, and so regarding the increasing of risk, minimizing risk, prevention fraud. So they have talking about this internal control and integrated framework, where they are talking about risk assessment, control activities, monitoring activities in operational area, in reporting area, and in compliance area. So my question is, so all these data technology, blockchain, or all these world, either fintech or I know iSuite, are they working on this internal control integrated framework that providing by the international accounting and auditing organizations? Are you aligning your technology or all this technology with this internal control and integrated framework? As you are talking about this, these technologies can prevent, I mean, can be aligned with the auditing and accounting in future.
Right. So in the programs, we will cover one section where this section will address your concern. So in finance industry, because the finance industry is a highly regulated industry, for example, I take the example of finance industry because it's highly regulated. So because it's highly regulated, there are so many regulations that is passed down by the regulators for the banks and the financial institutions to comply to. So what happens is, in order to comply to that and reduce errors and to reduce the fines that they are going to be imposed on them if they fail to comply in terms of regulatory compliance, what happens is that they use technology to help them comply. So this technology is called RegTech or regulatory tech. So the financial institutions and the banks themselves use technology to process the thick amount of regulations that pass down by regulators to ensure that the processes, every department within the organization that is impacted by the regulation has to comply. So they use a module which is called a RegTech, RegTech, and then it will help them comply to that. At the same time, from the regulator side, what they do is, because there are so many companies that are using technology, how do they check that these guys actually comply to the regulations that they require? So what they do is, especially when it comes to fintech companies, where they're using very sophisticated AI, very sophisticated blockchain, how do I ensure that in their programs that they are actually complying to my regulations in a written form? So just like the banks and financial institutions use technology to comply, now the supervisory, the regulators, use technology to check on them. So you use tech to check on tech. So this is what we call as SupTech, supervisory tech. So in one module in the programs, we will speak about RegTech, and then we'll talk about SupTech and how both of them are actually work on compliance, but on opposite ends. Yeah.
Okay, just understand, just supplementing this question coming on understanding your question, that as blockchain is working globally across the border, So inter-country and inter-region, economic policy, customs, tax policies are different. How this global blockchain technology, how they're working, or how these technologies are generalizing or including these different as you said, different regulatory bodies, different policies, different economic policy and tax policy.
Yeah. So I think you're speaking about harmonization of standards.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the harmonization of standards will only happen when the different parties or different jurisdictions want that to happen. So if they want it to happen, they can always integrate their private blockchain systems, and then they can just integrate it together. But it will take some time because you need to develop trust standards, and there are many different scenarios where in one jurisdiction they see these problems and another jurisdiction don't see that problems. So there are a lot of things that need to be worked out. So harmonization of standards, as being in the accountancy and auditing area, just like other sectors, takes a long time, right? And it only happens when different parties are ready to make it happen. But at the same time, while they work towards that, you can always have a jurisdiction that's very different in standards, right? They may not be aligned, but they just have to be able to, work within their jurisdiction first, right? You don't, you ensure that the local jurisdiction works well first, then we can think about the cross-border harmonization. So I think as much as we want to think far ahead, when it comes to actually building the solutions that we want through technology, we have to take it step by step.
Thank you very much, Dr. Haji. Now, I would like to request our honorable commentator, Mr. A.K.M. Abdullah Khan, Joint Secretary, E-Service Policy and Act Branch, ICT Division, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Mr. A.K.M. Abdullah Khan, sir. I think sir is hearing me. I'd like to request Mr. A.K.M. Abdullah Khan, sir, Joint Secretary, E-Service Policy and Act, Branch, ICT Division, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Abdullah Khan, sir.
I think he's joined, but he's not make his video on. His video is off.
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে honorable special guests, our commentator, Mr. K.M. Abdullah Khan, Joint Secretary, E-Service Policy and Act, Branch, ICT Division, Government Republic of Bangladesh. Sir, are you hearing me? Okay. Now sir will join us later. Okay, now Mr. A.K.M. Del Hussain FCMA, Vice President SAFA, coming January, he will be the President of SAFA. This is a proud news of ICMB. We should have a clap for Mr. A.K.M. Del Hussain FCMA, sir. He was twice he was the President of this institute also. Now, our special guest, Mr. AKM Delar Hussain FCM, sir. I would like to request to deliver his speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Chief Guest Sir, Senior Secretary Mr. N.M. Jiaul Alam, PA from Information and Communication Technology, ICT Division, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Respected President ICMA, Mr. Joshimuddin Akhund, FCMA. Today's commentator, he is very close to me, Mr. K.M. Abdullah Khan, Joint Secretary, Ministry of ICT. Dr. Hajiq Mohammed, Managing Director, Steeler Consulting Group, Singapore, FinTech Expert and Trainer, iFintel Business Intelligence, Malaysia, keynote presenter today's webinar. Mr. GM Umar Farooq Chaudhary, former President, Dhaka Branch Council, all the same, Dhaka Branch Council, ICMB, and today's moderator of this webinar. My dear fellow council colleagues, respected members of the Institute, my beloved students, Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon. I feel extremely honored to join this event on a very modern and technology issue. If not be mentioned here that the theme of this webinar is not a very familiar to me, as I do not have sufficient knowledge on it. This paper provided an overview of the emergence of artificial intelligence in accounting and auditing, as it is discussed the current capabilities of the cognitive technologies and the implication these technologies will have on human auditors and the audit process itself. I tried to look into the matter and found that there are both demand and supply factors behind the latest upsurge in artificial intelligence. On the demand side, there has not been much productivity improvement in advanced economies over the past several years, and companies are anxious to learn whether cognitive technologies can finally spur productivity growth. There are also many situations today in which a traditional human approach to analytical and decision making is simply impossible. These decisions need to be made with too much data and in too short at a time for human to be employed in this process. Digital, advertising, medical diagnosis, predictive maintenance and industrial equipment, and detailed audit of all company transactions fall into this category. On the supply side, we know have both software and hardware that is well suited for performing cognitive task. Both proprietary and open source software is widely available in perform various types of machine cognition. Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and Yahoo have all made available open source machine learning libraries. And some of the world's largest IT companies are providing proprietary offerings. Auditing is particularly suited for application of data analytics and artificial intelligence because it has become challenging to incorporate the vast volumes of structured and unstructured data to gain insight regarding financial and non-financial performance of companies. Also, many audit tasks are structured and repetitive and therefore can be automated. In other words, accounting is auditing have not been left behind this latest artificial intelligence spring. I don't want to prolong my speech. I thank you to Dr. Hajiq Mohammed for this beautiful presentation from all of from Singapore and all, of course, today's chief guest of today's evening for giving his valuable time for this webinar.
At least I invite all to fight against the COVID-19. Surely we will win this war against the humanity and bring a new beginning from the new year 2021. With the permission of the chief guest, sir, I would like to say mother language. Sir, really we are very much happy. খুবই কৃতজ্ঞ আপনার কাছে, মন থেকে বলতে চাচ্ছি, খুবই কৃতজ্ঞ। সম্মানিত প্রেসিডেন্টের দাওয়াতে আসছেন। আইসিএমএবি টোটাল আইসিএমএবি 1500 মেম্বার, ছাত্রছাত্রী সবাই আনন্দিত, খুশি স্যার। আমার মনে হয় স্যার, স্যারের দিকে এটা ক্যামেরাটা দেখাও তো স্যার, ছাত্রছাত্রীরা আমাদের মেম্বাররা, আপনি যদিও আমরা বলছি যে এটা শুধু ডিজিটালি ইয়াতে মানে ভিডিও কনফারেন্সিং হবে, কিন্তু ছাত্ররা কিন্তু থাকতে পারেনি, তারা আপনার কথা শুনে চলে আসছে স্যার, অডিটোরিয়ামে আছে। হয়তো হিউজ গ্যাদারিং হয় নাই, কিন্তু ইনশাআল্লাহ খুব শীঘ্রই আমরা স্যার আপনাকে পেতে চাই। কারণ আপনি যদি আসতেন তাহলে আমাদের যে লাইব্রেরিটা দেখেন এবং আমাদের যে আইটি রুমটা যদি দেখেন, সব মিলে আমার ছাত্রছাত্রীদের যে চলাফেরা যদি দেখলেও আমার মনে হয় আপনার সহানুভূতি আমাদের প্রতি হবে আর কি। কেননা বলতে চাই স্যার, আপনাকে তো বরং শ্রদ্ধা জানাচ্ছি, আপনি আমাকে চিনেন, জানেন, আপনার কাছে অনেকবার আমরাই প্রথম মনে হয় গভর্নমেন্টের অনেকেই আইটি নলেজ থাকতো, কিন্তু আপনি ছিলেন আমার মনে সুপ্রিম। আমি একটা কর্পোরেশনের লং টাইম 4.5 বছর চেয়ারম্যানগিরি করেছি, আপনার কাছে গিয়েছি জবাবদিহি করার জন্য। আপনি চেয়েছেন এটা নিয়ে আসেন, এটা করেন, কি করছেন না আসেন, আমি জবাবদিহি করতে গেছি আপনার কাছে, আমার মনে আছে। এবং রিয়েলি আপনার আচরণ, আপনার বিহেভ মানে স্মরণ রাখছি, থাকবে। এবং গভর্নমেন্ট সেক্টরে আপনি ক্যাডার সার্ভিস জয়েন করেছেন, সর্বোচ্চ এবং যিনি মানে প্রধানমন্ত্রীর অত্যন্ত আস্থাভাজন আইটি সেক্টরকে গভর্নমেন্টের যে ইয়া ছিল, মানে মূল চিন্তা চেতনা, এটাকে বাস্তবায়নের ভূমিকা রেখেছেন। তবে আমি একটা কথা একটু গর্ব করতে চাই, চিনি শিল্পে স্যার আমি ঘরে বসে বিছানায় বসে যে আখ চাষিরা যে টাকা পেতে পারে সেটা আমি নিশ্চিত করেছিলাম স্যার। এবং কখন কে আগে আখ রোপণ করবে, কে পরে রোপণ করবে, তার আখগুলো আমি যে আগে আসে সেটাই নিশ্চিত করছি। বা কম্বলের নিচে বসে টাকা পাওয়া, এটা কিন্তু আপনার উদ্যোগ। আপনি যদি আইসিটি ডেভেলপমেন্টের ফলেই এবং মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রীর চিন্তা চেতনাকে বাস্তবায়নের ফলে এটা করা সম্ভব হয়েছে স্যার। তা আমি যেটা আজকে বলতে চাই স্যার, এটা এই ছাত্রছাত্রীরা, আমরা যারা এই আইসিটি মিনিস্ট্রির কাছে শ্রদ্ধা কৃতজ্ঞতা জানাচ্ছি চাই এই কারণে, দুইবার আমাদেরকে কিন্তু হেল্প করছেন, ফিনান্সিয়াল সাপোর্ট দিয়েছেন। একবার 12 লক্ষ টাকা, আরেকবার 15 লক্ষ টাকা। 12 আর 15 প্রায় 27 লক্ষ টাকা আপনার মন্ত্রণালয় দিয়েছে, হয়তো আরো বেশি পাইছে, কিন্তু আমি জাস্ট আমার যেটা মেমোরি আছে এটা পেয়েছি। আজকে যোগ্য প্রেসিডেন্ট আমাদের, সে খুব আন্তরিক স্যার, এই প্রফেশনকে এগোনোর জন্য এই করোনার মধ্যে সমস্ত দিনভর কাজ করছি। তো আমরা চাই স্যার, সে খুব কম চেয়ে ফেলছে যে মাত্র 50 লক্ষ টাকা। আমার মনে হয় না স্যার, আপনি যদি এই প্রফেশনে প্রায় 10-12 হাজার এনরোলমেন্ট স্টুডেন্ট আছে তাদেরকে, এবং আমাদের মেম্বার আজকে করোনার কারণে আমরা পার্সোনালি ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত। আপনার চেম্বার 2-3 বার গেলাম হইলে স্যার, কিন্তু যেতে পারি নাই বিকজ অফ করোনার কারণে। আমরা কিন্তু ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত হচ্ছে, দেশ ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত হচ্ছে। তারপরে মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রীর জোরালো পদক্ষেপে আমাদের দেশের অর্থনীতি এখনো অন্যান্য দেশ, পৃথিবীর অন্যান্য দেশে আমরা ইনশাল্লাহ স্ট্রং হয়েছি স্যার, এবং মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রীর নির্দেশনায় আমরা কাজ করার প্রেক্ষিতে। আমাদের যে চাওয়া স্যার, এখানে কিন্তু আমাদের স্যার অ্যাকাউন্টিং বিপিও, যেটা স্যার এই বিজনেস প্রসেস অ্যাকাউন্টিং, বিজনেস প্রসেস আউটসোর্সিং, যেটা আপনি শিখাচ্ছেন ঘরে বসে টাকা জোগাড় করতে পারে। আমাদের যে মেম্বার স্টুডেন্টরা আছে, মেম্বাররা আছে, এই যে করোনার কারণে অনেকে চাকরি বাকরি নিয়ে প্রবলেম হচ্ছে। কিন্তু আমরা এই জিনিসটা যদি বিপিওটা আমাদের শিক্ষা ট্রেনিং বা এটা নিয়ে যা যা লাগে আপনারা উদ্যোগ নিয়ে যদি করে দেন, আমার মনে হয় আমাদের ইনস্টিটিউট অনেক উপকৃত হবে, দেশ উপকৃত হবে। এই ইনস্টিটিউট কারা স্যার? এই বাংলাদেশে একটা তেঁতুলিয়ার ছাত্রছাত্রীরা পড়াশোনা করে, তাদের মানে তাদের যে যোগ্যতা, মানে কম্পিটিটিভনেস বাড়াবে, তারা ভালো করবে স্যার। এটা আমাদের মেম্বাররা যারা একটু পজিশন আছে ঘরে বসে রোজগার করতে পারবে। আমাদের আইসিএমএতে ই লাইব্রেরিটা হয় নাই স্যার, এই লাইব্রেরিটা যদি স্যার আপনার ফান্ডিং এ হয়, এটা ভালো কিছু হবে। আমি মনে করি আমাদের ছাত্রছাত্রীদের কল্যাণ আসবে। আমাদের বলছি, প্রেসিডেন্ট সাহেব বলছি, এলএমএস এটা কিন্তু ফার্স্ট টাইম এরকম একাডেমিক আমরা বলবো যে আমরা চালু করেছি, কিন্তু এটা খুব মাইনর আকারে। এটাকে জোরালো ভাবে করতে হলে ফাইন্যান্স দরকার স্যার। তারপরে এই সময় আমরা কোনো কিছু রোজগার করার ব্যবস্থা নাই। তারপরে স্যার আমাদের একটা আইসিএম মেম্বার ডাইরেক্টর, সব মিলে স্যার আমি আপনার কাছে আমরা যাব, এবং আমি খুব শীঘ্রই স্যার অনুরোধ করতেছি, এটা আমরা সবাই মিলে স্যার একদিন আমরা অন্য একটা প্রোগ্রামে দেওয়া করবো, আপনি আসলেই এই প্রতিষ্ঠানটি মায়া পারবে স্যার। আর আমি ফিজিক্যালি আপনার অনুরোধ করবো স্যার, আমাদের একটা অ্যাপয়েন্টমেন্ট দেন স্যার, আপনার পছন্দ মতো সময় আমরা যাব। আমরা আজকে খুব মিস করেছি স্যার, আপনাকে ফিজিক্যালি পাই না। ফিজিক্যালি পাইলে আন্তরিকতা বাড়ে, অনেস্ট কথা স্যার। আমার কথাবার্তার মধ্যে কোনো অন্য কিছু নাই, মানে জাস্ট আপনার যে আপনার একটা অবস্থান আছে, সেই অবস্থানের একটু মানে আমরা মানে আপনার সহযোগিতা চাই স্যার। আর কথা বলবো না, আমরা সবাই শুনবো আপনার কথা, কারণ আপনি এই সেক্টরে, আমি ব্যক্তিগতভাবে গভর্নমেন্ট সেক্টরে চাকরি করেছি, আপনার অবস্থান জানি। মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রী কতটা আপনাকে পছন্দ করেন, পার্টিকুলার আপনি জ্ঞান গরিমা তো আছে, রিয়েলি ইউ আর ভেরি হ্যান্ডসাম অলসো স্যার। আমি বলতে চাই, খুব যখন গেছি আপনার চেম্বারে মনটা ভরে গেছে দেখি। আর ফাইনালি স্যার, আমাদের ভবিষ্যতের যিনি আমাদের জয় সাহেব, উনি যা খবর রাখে আপনাকে মানে খুব ইজ্জত করে। আমার মনে হয় এই প্রফেশনকে আমি বলবো এটা পলিটিক্যাল কথা হয়ে যায়। এই আইসিএমবি মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রী জননেত্রী শেখ হাসিনা জয় সাহেব আমরা মানে দেখাতে চাই সুযোগ মতো স্যার, আপনার প্যাট্রোনাইজেশনে আমরা একটা জায়গায় যেতে চাই যেখানে আমরা প্রমাণ করতে চাই গভর্নমেন্টকে হেল্প করার মানসিকতা আমাদের আছে, করেছি, করতে বাধ্য। সেই সাথে আমরা আপনার পূর্ণ সহযোগিতা চাই। এবং যাবো এনআই ক্যান্সার করে আমি কিছু মনে করবো, একজন সচিবের কাছে এনআই ক্যান্সারের অবদান আছে, আমাদের এই যে 15 লাখ টাকা দিছে বা আগে আইসিটি মিনিস্টার ছিলেন, ওনারা অবদান রেখেছেন স্যার। আমার মনে হয় বেশি চাই নাই স্যার, আপনি একটু এই দেশের জন্য একটু ভূমিকা রাখবেন, আমরা স্মরণ রাখবো, কৃতজ্ঞতা। একজন নাম বললাম এমনিতেই যে একইভাবে স্মরণ রাখতে চাই। আমাদের ছাত্রছাত্রীরা কি নাই একটু কথাবার্তা, আমি দাবি রাখলাম কি আপনার কাছে, আপনার সহানুভূতি চাই স্যার। স্যার আপনার সুস্বাস্থ্য কামনা করি, দীর্ঘায়ু কামনা করি, সুস্বাস্থ্যের সহিত ভালো থাকেন আর আমাদেরকে খেয়াল রাখবেন। সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ। আল্লাহ হাফেজ। আল্লাহ হাফেজ।
Thank you. AKM Delaro Sign sir. Now I would like to request our chief guest, Mr. N.M. Jiaul Alam, PAA, Senior Secretary, Information and Communication Technology, ICT Division, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Jiaul Alam, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, of today's seminar on how artificial intelligence, AI, and blockchain will transform accounting and auditing. Thank you, Mr. Umar Farooq Choudhury, FCMA, for your nice moderation. Respected Chair, Mr. Joshimuddin, FCMA, the President of ICMAB. Respected keynote speaker, today's keynote speaker, Mr. Hajik Mohammed, Managing Director, Stellar Consulting Group, Singapore, and FinTech expert and trainer. Actually, we enjoyed the presentation. It was very nice and informative and very insightful. So thank you once again, Mr. Hajik, for your very elaborate presentation. And you are nicely presenting so many hard things that very hard to understand. You are presenting as before us easily, and we can understand all the things. So thank you once again. And today's the welcome speech provider, Mr. Ali Haidar, the treasurer of ICMA-B, and of course the respected Vice President, Mr. Dalar Hussain, who is actually known to me earlier, and he is a very nice man, and he actually contributes a lot during his tenure in Food and Sugar and Food Corporation. So thank you, Mr. Dalar Hussain, for your nice speaking. I will be surprised if I find my colleague, he's also a nice man, Mr. Abdullah Khan. I think he has some problem with his connectivity, I think so. So very good evening to you all. On the outset, I'd like to convey my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to all of you for arranging such a very nice program today. As you know, this is the month of our GAD victory. And I would like to express my deepest respect to our father of the nation, the greatest leader of all the time, Mr. Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. And I'd also remember the invaluable sacrifice and unforgettable contribution of the valiant freedom fighters who fight for the country, and for this we achieved independent and sovereign Bangladesh. Under the very able leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and the visionary guidance of Honorable ICT Advisor Mr. Sajib Wazid Joy, we are building a self-sustainable digital Bangladesh, but not self-centered digital Bangladesh. We do not make it a silo digital Bangladesh. We are making it a wider digital Bangladesh. And we all need to work together to build a better connected world. As you know, the ICT division of Bangladesh is working relentlessly to enhance the digital Bangladesh, having with the slogan, Digital Bangladesh will be the Bangabandhu Sonar Bangla. In this regard, ICT division, as you know, is taking various initiatives for human resource development, electronic governance, connectivity, and ICT industry promotion to build a strong digital economy within 2041, which will be a milestone for us to build a developed Bangladesh. From the very beginning of its journey towards digital Bangladesh, the government has emphasized on sustainable ICT industry growth. Keeping this in mind, the government undertook massive technology-driven actions for building the necessary infrastructure and connectivity for the ICT sector, providing policy support and creating skilled workforce. Many initiatives, including setting up, as you know, the IT park, we are setting about 28 government IT parks around Bangladesh, bringing remote areas under internet connectivity. And in this regard, you know that we already connected about 3,800 union parishad under broadband connectivity and building. We are also built one 4-tier data center. We have one 3-tier data center, 2 3-tier data center, and we build another 4-tier data center in Kaliakwir. And we have been implemented, and many other program is underway to implementation, and which are actually prioritizing ICT sector, and we are leveraging IT-based employment and growth of the IT industries. Advanced technology such as IoT, AI, blockchain, augmented reality, cloud computing, additive manufacturing, big data analytics, and simulation have improved efficiency, and the way of work has drastically changed today. Bangladesh government has taken initiative to adapt to those changes to be able to compete with the global activities. Private sector also, as you know, Bangladesh are also taking the advantage of technology. This couple of years, the ongoing development in the area of artificial intelligence and blockchain technology have been creating chaos about the future role of accountant and audit professionals. Compared to other industries, IT is relatively a new concept in accounting arena, but gaining a momentum very fast in Bangladesh, keeping a very fast pace also. As you know, big accounting firms, Lotte, PwC, KPMG, and EY are already deploying the artificial intelligence in some of their area. Lately, they have invested heavily in the research and development of these technologies with the sole objective of introducing these technologies in day-to-day accounting and auditing operations. Deloitte has automated the process of reviewing and extracting all the relevant information from contracts and reducing meticulous, laborious human efforts. And this has helped reduce the time spent on reviewing legal contract documents, invoicing, financial statements, and board meeting minutes by up to 50% or more. These companies continue their expansion into the field of blockchain. Deloitte have been mostly researching how blockchain can affect the general market, while UI, for instance, has focused on releasing software solution tailored for the needs of cryptocurrencies business. Bangladeshi accounting auditing firms also, I think, too will have to capitalize on these technologies. I think today's seminar will help us in this regard. And the Minister of Commerce can provide policy support regarding this. And without policy support, we cannot do with the frontier technology. So policy support is needed. I think Minister of Commerce can provide policy support in this regard. The government's Vision 2041 is to transform Bangladesh into a developed nation by leveraging the fourth industrial revolution. As you know, we are emphasizing on the leadership, vision, and ideation of the youth for constructing a knowledge-driven economy and ensuring a leadership position for Bangladesh. Blockchain and AI will, artificial intelligence will definitely disrupt. It is a threat to some accounting roles and not the accounting professions, but an opportunity that makes the accountant's job more efficient. ICT division has crafted national strategies, as you know, for building a vibrant AI, blockchain technology, IoT, and robotics ecosystem in Bangladesh. We already formulated 5 strategy paper, as you know. We are now introducing frontier technology in the government service delivery also. And industry leaders are also doing this. We have been facilitating young people and business to upskill and transform themselves to be able to deploy those technologies in different sectors. Regarding LMS and others, I need to speak in Bangla today, as this actually is our internal solutions. So I need to speak in Bangla in this regard, in these areas. Regarding LMS, Learning Management System, আমি ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি জসিম সাহেবকে, প্রেসিডেন্টকে, যে আসলে একটা বড় ইনিশিয়েটিভ আপনারা নিয়েছেন এই সময়, কোভিডের এই সময়ে, যে একটা আমাদের থ্রেশহোল্ড ছিল যে আমরা কি করব এই সময়ে, আমাদের লার্নিং কন্টিনিউটি, মানে এডুকেশনের কন্টিনিউটি, এটা কিন্তু আমাদের এই ধরনের কানেক্টিভিটি ছিল বলেই কিন্তু আমরা সবকিছুই কিন্তু শিক্ষা থেকে শুরু করে সাপ্লাই চেইন থেকে শুরু করে আমাদের অল ট্রানজেকশন কিন্তু আমরা ঠিক রাখতে পেরেছি। এটা একমাত্র সম্ভব হয়েছে আমাদের ইনফ্রাস্ট্রাকচার, আমাদের কানেক্টিভিটি, আমাদের নেটওয়ার্কিং খুব সবল ছিল এবং আমরা বিগত সময়ে কাজ করেছি। তবে এই কোভিডের এই যে 2020 সালে যদি কোভিড না এসে 2008 সালে আসতো বা 2009 সালে ধরে আসতো, তাহলে কি হতো? তাহলে কিন্তু আমরা বিপদে পড়তাম, ভীষণভাবে বিপদে পড়তাম। তো আসলে এটা টেকনোলজি আমাদেরকে এইভাবে হেল্প করেছে এবং আমি ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি আবার আপনাদেরকে যে এটা চালু করেছেন। আমি একটু পরে আমি বলছি যে আমি কি হেল্প করতে পারি এখানে। আর আমি কংগ্রেচুলেশন জানাচ্ছি আমাদের প্রেসিডেন্ট সাউথ এশিয়ান ফেডারেশন অফ অ্যাকাউন্টেন্টস মিস্টার দেলার হোসেনকে। অভিনন্দন আপনাকে, আপনি বাংলাদেশের জন্য একটা বিশাল গৌরব এনেছেন। আপনি এসএএফ এর ভাইস প্রেসিডেন্ট হয়েছেন, এই জন্য আপনাকে ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি। আপনার সঙ্গে কথা হয়েছে কিছুক্ষণ আগেও যে আপনি চেয়েছিলেন যে আমি যেন মানে ভার্চুয়ালি না জয়েন করে ফিজিক্যালি জয়েন করি। এটা একটা খুব সুন্দর অপরচুনিটি ছিল, কিন্তু আসলে এইটার পরপরই আরো 2টা মিটিং আছে আমার। তো আমি কিন্তু ভার্চুয়ালি জয়েন করতে পারবো, কিন্তু মিটিংটা আমার আসলে ওই মোবাইলে জয়েন করা একটু ডিফিকাল্ট হবে, কারণ আমার কিছু নিজের কাজ আছে এখানে। তো সেই জন্য আমি আসলে এই ফিজিক্যালি আসতে পারিনি। তো হ্যাঁ, ইচ্ছা আছে পরে যে কোনো সময় চলে আসবো। এটা আপনি যে লোভ দেখালেন যে সুন্দর একটা লাইব্রেরি আছে এখানে, বা আরো কিছু স্থাপনা আপনাদের আছে করেছেন, অডিটোরিয়ামটা দেখলাম খুব চমৎকার একটা অডিটোরিয়াম আপনাদের। তো সব মিলিয়ে আমি মনে করি যে আমাদেরও প্রয়োজন আছে একটু দেখা, এটা বাংলাদেশের একটা সুন্দর প্রতিষ্ঠান, এটা দেখা, এবং এইখানে যদি কিছু আমাদের কন্ট্রিবিউশন প্রয়োজন হয়, বিশেষ করে আইটি সেক্টরে। বাই দ্য ওয়ে, আপনাকেও ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি। আপনি সম্ভবত পুরজির কথা বলতেছিলেন, আপনি যখন ফুড এন্ড সুগার ইয়াতে ছিলেন, সুগার এন্ড ফুড ইন্ডাস্ট্রি ছিলেন, তখন হয়তো পুরজির ব্যবস্থাপনা আপনি ছিলেন, আপনি আসলে যথার্থই বলেছেন যে ওই সময় এই পুরজির যে অটোমেশনটা এটা ছিল ওই সময়ের জন্য একটা মাইলস্টোন। আমাদের যে আইটি সেক্টরের সার্ভিস ডেলিভারি সেক্টরের যে একটা বিশাল মাইলস্টোন বলি, আমাদের এইটা ছিল, ব্যবস্থাপনাটা ছিল এরকম যে ওইটা দিয়ে কিন্তু আমরা শুরু করেছি। আর এখন কিন্তু অনেকগুলো সার্ভিস কিন্তু আমরা অটোমাইজ করেছি। আমাদের এখন অ্যাবাউট 600 প্লাস 700 কাছাকাছি আমাদের অটোমেটেড সার্ভিস ডেলিভারি আছে। তো এইগুলো কিন্তু আসলে একদিনে হয় না, এটা অনেক সময় হয়েছে, এবং আমরা সকল গভর্নমেন্ট সার্ভিসকে অটোমাইজ করে একদম মানে এটা অটোমেটেড সার্ভিস ডেলিভারি সিস্টেমে যাওয়া, যেখানে হ্যাসেল ফ্রি হবে, টাইম কস্ট ভিজিট কম হবে, সব মিলিয়ে কিন্তু আমরা একটা সুন্দর অটোমাইজ সার্ভিস ডেলিভারি সিস্টেমে যাচ্ছি। এবং লাইব্রেরির কথা বলেছেন, এটা দেখার প্রয়োজন আছে। আর হচ্ছে বিপিইউতে কিন্তু বিজনেস প্রসেস আউটসোর্সিং এ কিন্তু অ্যাকাউন্টিংটা খুব বেশি, আমি মনে করি যে একটা বড় একটা অবদান রাখতে পারে। এবং আপনারা যথার্থই ফাইন্ড আউট করেছেন, আমি মনে করি যে এই সেক্টরে কিন্তু স্কিলটা দরকার আমাদের, এবং আমরা কাজ করতে পারি। আমাদের কিন্তু ফ্রিল্যান্সার দের প্রশিক্ষণের কিছু ব্যবস্থা আছে। আপনি বলেছেন যে আসবেন এক সময়, আসলে কথা বললে হয়তো এগুলো ক্লিয়ার হবে, আরো আমরা এই বিষয়গুলোতে আরো কাজ করতে পারবো। আমি মনে করি যে বিপিও সেক্টরে অ্যাকাউন্টিং একটা বিশাল একটা অবদান রাখতে পারে। এখানে কিন্তু আমাদের অনেক যুবক মানে আমাদের কর্মসংস্থান হতে পারে। ই লাইব্রেরির কথা বলেছেন, ই লাইব্রেরিটা আমরা একটা প্রোটোটাইপ করেছি, আমরা এনডিসি ন্যাশনাল ডিফেন্স কলেজের সঙ্গে একটা কাজ করছি ইলেকট্রনিক লাইব্রেরি, এবং আমি মনে করি যে ওইটার যদি আমরা আপনারা যদি প্রোটোটাইপটা নিয়ে আসেন বা কাস্টমাইজ করে নেন, তাহলে সুন্দর একটা ই লাইব্রেরি কিন্তু আপনাদের হতে পারে, এবং এই বিষয়ে অবশ্যই আমরা কাজ করব আশা করি পরবর্তীতে। নজরুল স্যারের কথা বলেছেন, নজরুল স্যার কিন্তু আমাদের অত্যন্ত প্রিয়ভাজন একজন লোক, আমরা শ্রদ্ধা করি, সম্মান করি স্যারকে। ডিজিটাল বাংলাদেশের যে প্রথম দিকের সৈনিক, মানে নিবেদিত প্রাণ সৈনিক বলা যায় নজরুল স্যারকে, এবং উনি শুরু করেছেন যেভাবে, এটা আসলে একটা, আমরা তখন বলতাম যে স্যার পাগলামি করে, কিন্তু আসলে এটা যে রিয়েল ডেভেলপমেন্ট, এটা কিন্তু তখন অনেকেই আমরা বুঝতে পারি নাই, কিন্তু এখন বুঝতে পারছি যে স্যারের যে দৌড়াদৌড়ি ছিল, এই ধরনের কাজের যে প্রতি স্যারের একনিষ্ঠতা ছিল, এটা কেন ছিল সেটা কিন্তু এখন বুঝতে পারি। তো আপনাকে ধন্যবাদ জানাই স্যারের কথা বলাতে। আর আমি এই তো মোটামুটি শেষের দিকে, তবে আমি আশা রাখছি হয়তো যদি সুযোগ পাই আপনাদের আবারও বলবো যে ভিজিট অবশ্যই করব, এবং এই বিষয়ে আর কি করা যায়, বিশেষ করে এলএমএস যেটা লার্নিং ম্যানেজমেন্ট সিস্টেম, এখানে কি কন্ট্রিবিউট করতে পারি আমরা, এবং আরো যদি এই যে এআই এবং ব্লকচেনের উপরে যদি একটা স্পেশালাইজড ল্যাব করা যায় আপনার এখানে, যেটা আসলে অ্যাকাউন্টিং এর যারা কাজ করবেন তাদের জন্য উপকৃত হবে, সেটাও কিন্তু আমরা হয়তো চিন্তা ভাবনা করে করতে পারি। হয়তো সময় লাগবে, কিন্তু আসলে আমি মনে করি যে এই স্পেশালাইজড ল্যাব থাকলে একটা অ্যাকাউন্টিং এন্ড অডিটিং এর, বিশেষ করে অ্যাকাউন্টিং এন্ড অডিটিং, আর হচ্ছে এটা হলো এআই বেসড এবং ব্লকচেইন বেসড ল্যাব যদি থাকে, তাইলে হয়তো এই কাজগুলো করা, রিসার্চ করা, ডেভেলপ করা এবং প্রোটোটাইপ তৈরি করা বা বিভিন্ন অ্যাপ্লিকেশন তৈরি করা, এগুলো কিন্তু অনেক সহজ হবে। যাক, এই বিষয়গুলো হয়তো আপনাদের সঙ্গে যদি কথা হয়, আলোচনা হয়, আরো হয়তো আমরা বের করে নিতে পারবো কোথায় কোথায় আছে। So with this view, I would like to conclude today, and thank you for inviting me with great honor like this. আমি খুব অনার ফিল করতেছি আজকে এই অনুষ্ঠানে আসতে পেরে। আপনাদের সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি। থ্যাংক ইউ অল, স্পেশালি দি keynote presenter Mr. Hajek. So thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your nice deliberation. We have been informed from sir various aspects of the ICT sector in Bangladesh. The country is moving forward with the digitalization. In government sector, various sectors has already been digitalized. In the passport office, it is digitalized. In the land office, it is digitalized. In the every office, many corporations has been digitalized in file processing and many other cases. So hope with the able leadership of our honorable sir, the country will be more digitalized, and ICMB will, I think ICMB will definitely install the library as sir has proposed to us, and his help will always be with us. Now, a vote of thanks I would like to request Mr. Abu Bakr Siddiqui, FCMA, Councillor and Vice President of ICMB, to offer vote of thanks. Mr. Abu Bakr Siddiqui, FCMA.
বকর ভাই আপনি মিউটে আছে হ্যাঁ
Honorable President of ICMA Bangladesh, Mr. Joshimuddin Akand, FCMA. Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. N.M. Jiaul Alam, EAA, Senior Secretary, Information and Communication Technology Division, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Honorable Special Guest, Mr. A.K.M. Delwar Hussain, FCMA, Vice President, South Asian Federation of Accountants. Honorable Resource Person, Dr. Hajiq Muhammad, Managing Director, Stellar Consulting Group, Singapore. Our honorable commentator is not connected at this moment, but though he give us the time for the commentary, I like to address him. And for Joint Secretary, ICT Division, Government of Bangladesh, and honorable participant of this program, Assalamu alaikum. Dear participants, from this lively program, I hope you have learned a lot to enrich your knowledge. At this stage, I want to express my gratitude to the Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. N.M. Jiaul Alam, PAA, Senior Secretary, ICT Division, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, for giving your valuable time to grace the program a successful one. I also want to express my thanks to the special guest, Mr. A.K.M. Delwar Hussain, FCMA, Vice President, South Asian Federation of Accountants, for giving us your valuable time to make the program a success. I also want to express my thanks to the Honorable Resource Person, Dr. Hajiq Muhammad, Managing Director, Stellar Consulting Group, Singapore, for your knowledge enriching paper presentation and making the program a successful one. I also want to express my thanks to the learned moderator, Mr. G.M. Omar Farooq Choudhury, FCMA, former Chairman of Dhaka Branch Council of ICMAB, for efficient moderation of the program. Above all, I also want to express my thanks to the honorable participants of the program to make the program a successful one. Thank you all. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you.
Now I would like to request our current SAFA Vice President, but in January he will be the President of SAFA, South Asian Federation of Accountants.
আমি বলতে চাই আসলে একটা শান্তি নিয়ে আজকে অডিটোরিয়ামতে যাব স্যার, এটা সিনিয়র সচিব স্যারের উদ্দেশ্যে বলতে চাই। অনেস্টলি স্যার, আমার মনে হয় স্যার চিনেন তো, আমি মানে এক্সপ্রেস করতে পারছি না কি মাত্রা আমরা খুশি হয়েছি স্যার আপনার উপস্থিতিতে। আমরা স্যার এবং এই যে অনুষ্ঠান শেষে একসাথে বসে একটু চা খাওয়া বা এটা অন্য মানে একটা অনেক কিছু আমরা পর্ব করি, সেই পর্বগুলো করতে বলে অনেক অতৃপ্তি রয়ে গেল আমাদের। একটু সুযোগ দিবেন, ফোন করবো স্যার, আপনার টাইম শিডিউল দিবেন, আমরা চলে আসবো, মানে কাউন্সিলের বেশ কয়েকজন আসবো আপনার স্বনামধন্য অফিসে একটু আসবো স্যার, এই পারমিশনটা চাচ্ছি স্যার। আর আমরা অনেস্টলি আমি খুব খুশি হয়েছি, অনেক অনেক খুশি হয়েছি স্যার।
থ্যাংক ইউ, আপনাকে অনেক ধন্যবাদ, দেখা হবে ইনশাআল্লাহ, কথা হবে।
স্যার আরেকটা জিনিস স্যার আমরা মানে এই বছরের শুরুতেই স্যার একটা ইন্টারন্যাশনাল সাফা কনফারেন্স করতে চাচ্ছি স্যার। এই ক্ষেত্রে আপনার সাক্ষাতে যে আলাপ করবো স্যার, আপনার সহযোগিতা একান্ত দরকার। আমরা সাফা ইন্টারন্যাশনাল কনফারেন্স স্যার, আমরা আইফাকের মেম্বার, কাফার মেম্বার এবং সাফারও মেম্বার, এই জায়গায় আমি সাক্ষাতে আলাপ করবো স্যার। আপনার সহযোগিতার সবচেয়ে বেশি দরকার স্যার, আপনার সহযোগিতার সবচেয়ে বেশি দরকার স্যার, এইটুকু যদি বলে আপনাকে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ স্যার।
আলাপ করা যাবে, থ্যাংক ইউ। তাহলে আমি একটু লিভ করি, আমার একটা মিটিং আছে তো এই জন্য আমি আর মানে হয়তো থাকতে পারছি না। তো আপনাদের সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ।
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
So we are closing the session and today's program. Thank you everyone. Thank you Dr. Haziq and your team. We'll speak later. Thank you very much.
Thank you Mr. Haziq. Thank you so much. We want to work together.
Thank you.